holiday. So good morning and welcome. I hope you had a great week after the 4th of July holiday. We're going to jump right in this morning with some great topics. I just keep thinking about all of these topics that I wish that someone had helped me through when I first started my business. Really, I think it would have helped me go a lot farther, a lot faster. And so I love sharing these things that I wish that I had known with you. My name is Sarah and welcome. I'm so glad that you're here joining me today. I am a startup coach. I love helping people get started in their business. Really, I love helping people get motivated and started with any project, but specifically in business. And I want to help you avoid the mistakes that I made as I started so that you can have a business that is both profitable and has impact and also is something that you love to do. That's not just taking up all of your time and energy, but creates a lifestyle that you want to live with freedom financially, and also with your time and energy so you can spend time with your family and doing the things you love. If you've missed previous Facebook Lives, they are, saved in my guide section, and you can go back and check those out at any time. So we're going to dive right in this morning to the topic of thinking like a boss. Here recently, I've kind of become addicted to watching a certain kind of video on YouTube. And you know how it is on YouTube or on anything really social media. Once you start watching or interacting, they keep showing you the same thing. And so I've been addicted to these videos where fishermen rescue sea turtles and they take off all of the barnacles that are covering those sea turtles. They're really addicting videos, and I watch them over and over, and of course now YouTube keeps recommending them for me. But what they do is they see these sea turtles in the ocean that are just covered with these big white shells, these barnacles, and they pull them out of the ocean. Sometimes they have trash attached because those barnacles just catch on everything. And they take a really sharp knife and they pull these barnacles and all these growths that are on the turtles that are really slowing the turtles down. They don't hurt the turtles, they don't kill the turtles, but they do slow them down. They weigh them down. They aren't able to swim freely. They aren't able to fish as easily to catch their food. And these fishermen just slowly scrape them off. Sometimes they leave a huge pile of these barnacles behind, and they show these on these videos, and I'm really addicted to them. It doesn't take much time for the fishermen to do this work, and it's really a game changer for these turtles. Sometimes the turtles get in the water and they kind of swim back and they look at the fishermen, almost thanking them for the work that they've done to help them. Those barnacles really weigh them down. And once one attaches, it's easier for more barnacles to attach to the back of the turtle. And I just thought that is a lot like what happens to us when we start a business. We are like that sea turtle, and sometimes we allow negative thoughts, negative ways of thinking, which lead to poor habits that just start to weigh us down in our business. One thought attaches, and so it becomes easier for another thought to attach. And those little thoughts and habits attach to you, and after a while, you don't even realize that they're there, holding you down, weighing you down, holding you back. They aren't necessarily harmful per se, but they do become consuming of you. And so I want to share with you a few of those barnacles that we have that are holding us back, that are causing us to think like kind of a grunt worker. We're doing a lot of good work, but we're way down here in the weeds. And I want to help release us from that type of thinking so that we can start thinking like a boss, which really is going to build momentum in our business. And so here are some beliefs that I often hear from new business owners. One is of the belief that I can piece together my business with freebies. So what happens is when we believe that is we spend a lot of time listening to those voices, those freebies from email, Facebook groups, posts, ads, webinars, YouTube videos. We get drowned out in those voices, and instead of actually learning what we need to do, we just spend time gathering these freebies. And I know I have a big resource binder right over there of all the freebies I got when I was first starting out in my business. Another belief that I hear is that if you follow enough people and subscribe to enough email lists, then I'll get all the information that I need. This is kind of like that first belief about the freebies. So what you do is you spend all of your time and energy combing through those emails. Now you're getting 30 or 40 emails a day that you have to manage and deal with. And they are also voices that are telling you to buy now. You're going to miss out. The cart is closing. And instead of, again, actually doing the work of building your business, you're just doing maintenance on your inbox and your social media. The help you so desperately need actually becomes a distraction. The other belief that I hear a lot is I have to learn it all to be successful in my business. And while it's true there is a lot to learn in your business, you don't have to learn it all, and you certainly don't have to learn it all at the beginning. And what happens when we believe this idea that I have to learn it all we do is we become a learning junkie, which is great. We do have to learn in our business, but when that's all you're doing is learning and not applying, you're never going to move the needle forward and you aren't going to grow your business. So here's another belief that we have as new business owners that really holds us back. We start to believe that everyone else has it figured out because we're spending more time on social media, we have more emails coming in, we're living in this world of what everyone else is doing. We start to believe that everyone else has this figured out. It slowly creeps in. It doesn't always overwhelm us. But what happens when you spend all of that time on social media is you're looking at what everyone else is doing and their success that they're showing on social media. And you find it really easy to compare and see that you aren't where everybody else is. But what you don't know is that person have been working on their business for 2 or 3 or 5 years. And if you're just beginning, you can't compare your progress with their progress on social media. Another belief is we believe that this is just taking too long. I should be having success by now. I have taken too long to start making money. We start to believe this lie, and what happens is we feel a strong sense of urgency that we now need to do all of this work to make up for this time that we've lost. But then we aren't doing the right work and the good work. We're gathering more freebies, we're doing more learning, but we aren't actually setting into the timeline that God has for us and the success that He wants us to have. And so we start believing that lie of it's taking too long, so we start working harder and more hours, and then we're giving up the freedom that we so longed for to be able to spend time with our family and to be able to relax. And so this becomes a nasty cycle. And we also start to believe that we're a failure because of some timeline that we thought we needed to apply to our business. It just becomes a cycle. It's like those barnacles I was talking at the beginning on the back of the turtle. They just start adding on and adding up and weighing us down. A couple more beliefs that we have is I will never be successful. This thought can come out of nowhere when I'm working. I'm sitting at my computer and all of a sudden this little thought creeps in, and it's a lie that's easy to believe because when you look at your business, you think you haven't had any success. You don't have a solid definition of success, so everything in your business starts to look like a failure or not good enough. Now you're comparing to other people, and this just escalates. I have a great video in my guide section about defining success and failure to help you overcome that. Another belief that's also related is this will never work. We start to believe I'm doing all of this work, this time, it's taking too much time, and we start to believe this will never work. And it's a soundtrack that can start to play in the back of your mind, and it starts to help us self-sabotage our work. If we believe the thought this is never going to work, then that is actually going to start to come true. It's not going to start working because that's what our mind is telling us. All of these beliefs and whatever other ones you're struggling with, and if you have a different one you're struggling with, you can put it in the comments below. I'd love to know. Or maybe it's one you've struggled with but overcome. You could share that. These are all like the barnacles on the back of the turtle. They just start attaching to you. They aren't necessarily deadly, but they do start weighing you down, and they start influencing the work you're going to do or not do. And truly, these beliefs in our mind hold us back more than anything else from real success and real progress. These thoughts and beliefs about you, your business, and your progress influence your work, and you might not even realize it. This type of thinking, these negative thoughts and allowing them to overcome us, is a grunt way of thinking. They are always going to be limiting thoughts for you. You are always going to have them there if you don't address them, and you're going to struggle with them if you don't overcome them. And you probably haven't even realized, I was this way too. I didn't even realize how much this type of thinking influenced me until I really spent time thinking about those thoughts, being aware of them, and addressing them. Doing the same thing over and over with these same thoughts, it's never going to work. I'm just going to do it the free way. I am never going to experience success. You're just trying to put those aside isn't going to actually help you overcome them. It's time to stop thinking that way and to start thinking a different way, thinking like a boss does. Because if you stay thinking that way and not really overcoming them, you're always going to stay stuck in that phase. So we need to start thinking like a boss. So how do people who are actually in charge, having success, being the boss of their business, really thinking? What types of actions are they taking as a result of their thinking? Our thinking and our actions are directly related. How you think is how you're going to behave, and how you behave is what's going on in your mind. Hebrews 12:1 says, let us throw off everything that hinders us and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. It's time for us to do this work, and we need to put off everything that hinders us. So the first thing that we have to do, the first step to replace the line of thinking, is to replace that line of thinking and then match an action to go with it, so that we train our brain. I am no longer going to have that negative thought. I'm going to replace it, and I'm going to put a specific action in place of it. And this cycle will help us retrain our brain. So let's go back to those original beliefs that I talked about, those barnacles that are attaching to us, and we're going to replace them with a new thought and a new action. So if you want to take some notes, this would be a great place to take some notes. So if you have struggled with the belief of, I can piece my business together with freebies online, then we're going to replace it with, I am worth investing in with a solid plan. Little pieces here and there will not get me where I want to go. That's what we have to replace that belief with. And here's the action that you're going to take that goes along with it. You need to set a budget and purchase full programs and tools that will actually get you where you want to go. When you are only getting freebies from people, you're only getting a little tiny snippet of their whole program. So you're missing out. You're never going to be successful because freebies are specifically designed. Their very nature is to only give you a tiny piece of their program. So you need to replace that belief with, I can piece it together with all of these little freebies, and replace that action with actually purchasing something, a complete course that can help you start your business. Another belief that you might have is, if I follow enough people and subscribe to enough email lists, I'll get all the information I need. I know this is one that I did. If I only follow enough people, then I'll get all the stuff I need. We need to replace this thought that I need to follow lots of people online, on social media, on email, and replace it with the idea that I only need to follow 2 to 5 people. That's it. 2 to 5 people, and listen to them in order to grow. There are lots of great people out there, but the more people I follow, the more work it creates for me. So we want to do the right work. That's my motto. So we need to streamline who we're following and what voices we're listening to. 2 to 5. That's it. And follow people who are doing and talking about the information that you need right now. If you're thinking about starting a podcast way in the future, you should not be following people about podcasts right now. You should be following people about the information you need right now. Let the rest of it go. I promise you it will be there when you need it later. Here's the action step for you. It's a big one, but it won't take you very much time. Unsubscribe, unfollow, block, unfriend whoever you need to do that to limit the voices that are speaking to you on social media and in your email. Podcasts count too. And if you're just starting out, just be diligent about who you're going to follow and use that unfollow, unsubscribe button judiciously. Do it. It will help you. A couple more beliefs. I have to learn it all to be successful. We're going to replace that with, I only need to learn the next step, not 10 steps ahead. We're just focused on the next step. And if that step becomes overwhelming, I will either pay someone else to teach me how to do it, or I will hire it out. This is what happened to me when I was working on my website. It became a block for me. I spent months working on it, and I had to replace this idea of I have to learn everything with I'm just going to pay someone else to do it. It was well worth the money. So here's your action step. You're going to create a plan for your next couple of steps. That's it. Not 10 steps out, the next couple of steps. Set a timeline to learn that information. I'm going to spend the next week, the next 2 weeks, however much time to learn that information, because otherwise you'll spend weeks and months and you'll get stuck here learning about that one specific thing if you don't have a specific timeline. The other thing I really recommend for you with this action step is to designate a certain amount of time that you're going to learn it and when you're going to do it. Right before bed on a Friday night is not going to set you up for success for learning something new. You need to pick a time during the week that you are fresh and able to learn, and then set a designated time. Because if you don't set a designated time, then all of a sudden YouTube has sucked you in, and now you've spent 8 hours doing something and you haven't learned anything. You end up on turtle videos like I do. So set a designated timeline for how long you're going to take to learn, and then a certain time that you're going to do it. If Sunday afternoons are a great time for you to do that kind of work of learning and applying, then set that time aside specifically. And then be clear, how am I going to apply it? Once I learn this, what's my action step after that? A couple more beliefs. Everyone else has it all figured out. You're going to replace it with, I'm on my own journey. I'm doing my own thing. I'm not going to compare to other people. And the action step is to stop death scrolling on social media. That's where this comes from, believing that everyone else has it figured out. So stop comparing to everyone else. Get off of social media for just the scroll factor, and use social media for your business as a tool instead of just zoning out. I only go into Facebook groups from a spreadsheet. So instead of living in Facebook, I live in a spreadsheet where my Facebook groups are, and I click from my spreadsheets into Facebook so that I'm doing specific work instead of just scrolling. You got to start setting some of those systems up in place so you don't allow it to overtake your time and energy. The last one, or the last couple are, this is taking too long. And you're going to replace that belief with, I'm on my own timeline. I'm not comparing to other people. This is the right work to be doing. I'm on my own journey. And the action step is to be realistic about how long it takes. And then the other thing that I really recommend is that you keep track of your progress, what you've actually accomplished. So when you cross it off your to-do list, I actually recommend that you put it on an evidence list, and you keep that evidence list to show the progress that you've made. And then celebrate every small step along the way. Success isn't something way far out in the future. It's each little day, each little task that you accomplish along the way, and you've got to celebrate that along the way to help dispel this belief that this is taking too long. And I have a great video, I'll drop the link below, about celebrating your success. You also might have a belief that you will never be successful. We're going to replace it with, I will create my own definition of success in alignment with what God has asked me to do. Stop looking at everybody else. The action step is to create realistic goals with a realistic timeline, and then track your progress and celebrate every win. This will really help you combat that idea of, I'm failing, I'm never going to be successful. The last belief is, this will never work. I will never start making money. I'm not going to get my business off the ground. And we're going to replace this with, God has called me to this work, and He will help me in that process. And that is really a big belief that we can trust in. So our action step with that is to focus on short-term steps and success. We don't want to be dreaming about, we want to be dreaming about where we want to be a year from now, but we're not focused on that. We're focused on the next 90 days, what we want to accomplish in that short timeline, and celebrate those short steps and successes along the way. And that comes from tracking your progress. You have to track your progress. I do it every Friday, and it helps me know what work to do the next week. When you look at other people's progress, when you're comparing and you're death scrolling on social media, when you try to do it all, and when you force a timeline, you're right, it never will work. And so we have to replace that belief of it will never work with actions that show our brain that it will work and that we can do this work. It's time to put your blinders on and not look at everything else and get really focused on what you're doing. You're comparing yourself with where you were 90 days ago and just working on the next 90 days. And then do the work that God has given you to do. Ephesians 2:10 says, one of my favorite verses is, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good work, which God prepared us in advance to do." He's already prepared us to do this work. So now we need to get busy and do that work. So that's how you start thinking like a boss. We replace old ways of thinking that are holding us back with new ways of thinking, and we attach it to an action that proves to our brain, hey, I'm letting go of that old way of thinking and I'm going to start this new way of thinking. We need to stop those old ways and replace it and put it with an action. And that's what creates momentum in your business. You put this new thought with a new action, and you just can't be stopped after that. And I want to be clear, this is not manifesting what you desire. That's something totally different. And for me, it's not biblical. This is setting your mind up for success, replacing that negative self-talk with positive thinking, and then acting upon that thinking. And in order to be the boss of your business, you really have to start thinking like one. I believe that your success in your business really begins with what's going on in your mind and your heart and your soul. It's that internal work that we have to overcome in order to be a successful business owner. So here's my encouragement for you today. Pick one or two specific action steps you're going to take to replace those thoughts, and then what you're going to do to align an action with it, and then do them today. Don't wait till tomorrow. We always say, oh, I'll start tomorrow. Oh, I'll start next Monday. Start today. Today is the best day to start. And then also keep a couple of those replacement statements next to your computer. So when you hear these types of thinking pop up, you can't do this, you're never going to be successful, this is taking too long, you are already armed right there with your computer, right here next to your monitor, those replacement statements that you're going to use to replace that line of thinking. So when it pops in your mind of, oh, you can never do this, you look down and you see, oh, but God has equipped me to do it, and I can. I have some Bible verses down here that help me remember what my thoughts should be instead of having those negative thoughts. So if you would love more help with these types of things, celebrating more successes, tracking your progress, getting focused on your 90 days, I would love to help you with that. This is exactly what I do and what I love to do to help people overcome these challenges and get on with their business building and being successful and having a profit. I'd love to help you be able to do that, both the thinking and the action steps. And at the end of the month, I am launching my new program called 90 Day Knockout to help you with this exact same thing, overcoming your mindset issues and putting action steps in place to focus on your next 90 days. And I want you to be a part of it. It's coming up. I have the lowest price and the best bonuses available right now. So I'll drop a link for you below if you're interested in finding out more information. I'd love to have you join me on that. Next week, I am going to have you, lost my train of thought. Next week, I'm going to address growing like a boss. There's so much that we have to learn. I'm going to teach you how you can learn what you need to learn in a shorter period of time, eliminate the distractions of other people and other voices so that when you couple thinking like a boss, you can do the growth that you need yourself to grow like a boss. And then in 2 weeks, I'm going to teach you how to work like a boss. We have such bad work habits that we've accumulated from school and from our own bad habits that I want to teach you how to actually work like a boss. So these three will all go together: thinking like a boss, growing like a boss, and then working like a boss. And so I hope that you will join me. And if you have any questions, you can drop them below and I'd be happy to help you with those. I hope you have a great Monday and are able to get lots done this week. Thanks for joining me.